Welcome to Tactical Reviews for a really detailed look at a classic in the MICROTECH lineup, the SOCOM Elite. This is the 2025 version, so over the years this classic model has had minor updates and improvements, but staying true to the original design. So here we have inside the box some information leaflets and a sticker. And then with a little warning that it's sharp, we have the SOCOM Elite, the blue Tanto Black Blade Edition. The SOCOM Elite is a model which has stood the test of time, and as we look at all the details, you're going to see just why this is such a strong performer and popular design. So here, the SOCOM Elite is the manual opener and is fitted with the Tanto blade with the black Cerakote finish with the two-tone. We have a blue anodized handle, and inset into the plain side of the handle are two grip panels, and on the opposite side we have a pocket clip which is diverted around, leaving the pivot bolt free for adjustment. And we also see a feature where we have the fixing point for the liner lock bar. One of the other features added more recently is a glass breaker, and this is running on bearings. So let's come in and look really closely. So the aim here really is to soak in all of the details nice and close. So the pocket clip, as mentioned before, that's shaped so that it keeps the pivot bolt clear. And the handle has some grip jimping front and back. These are the fixing bolts for the lock bar, a liner lock. Have our lanyard hole, a glass breaker, and you can see how the handle has the spacers built in. Broad thumb ramp, and then on this side we have these inset grip panels, and the thumb stud relief. So that pocket clip is a single position, there isn't an alternative mounting position for that. So we get tip down carry and effectively kind of in right-handed configuration. Let's look at the lock action. And then also see how the thumb studs are giving our stop position against the front of the handle. So really striking two-tone finish that MICROTECH put on many of their knives. So Cerakote, individually serial numbered. We have the date, so you can see this is the version as made in 2025. MICROTECH have their own special version of M390. However, that specification isn't included in the fact it's just engraved here with the M390 rather than with the extra detail of it being the MICROTECH M390, but it definitely is. So just final look, you can see how the thumb grip goes up the handle and then down onto the top of the blade. And in fact, we're going to now have to zoom out a little bit to just look at some of the handling. So coming to a bit of a wider view here just to show. So I take XL size gloves. We want to look at general handling and the size of the knife. The SOCOM Elite is a good size folder. So in my hands, perfectly hand filling. The manual opening, and clearly still have plenty of protrusion either side when I'm taking a full grip on the knife, so easy to strike with the glass breaker, which you wouldn't do with the blade open, but this would be, if you were just doing a glass break, the optimum grip. And we have the thumb grip. Position the hand further up, and I then have further grip on the back of the blade, allowing me to apply pressure directly down onto the cut. And we also have reverse grip jimping on the handle to give us a strong grip in the reverse position. And that's the general handling of and ergonomics of the SOCOM Elite. They're just very comfortable altogether, both in size and grip. So let's take a look at the detailed technical measurements. And now we're moving on to the Tactical Reviews detailed technical specifications for the MICROTECH SOCOM Elite, the manual version. And first up we'll take the weight. So it's 150 grams. The length when folded, so we also have to include the glass breaker there. So the length is 13.3 centimeters long. The width, so going across here, we get quite a wide point, so just going to kind of taking a movement across to find that widest point. So we have 37 millimeters for the widest point. The blade length. So here, as we have the thumb stud as a stop pin as well, I've got to tuck that measurement just onto the face there of the handle, and the blade is 10.1 centimeters long. Handle thickness, I'm going to include the pocket clip. And just a very slight protrusion of the pivot bolt there. So we have 20.9 millimeters for the thickness. Handle depth, I'm not going to consider this point here. It's almost like a guard, but really I'm going to take this point and follow that through and just see how that works out. And that, so our widest point is here, and that's 27.7 millimeters. Have a look at where this will balance. So I'm just on to resting on the pivot bolt there, and it falls off the pivot bolt, and then so that balance point is just about there, but I can't get it exact because it's slipping. So we are 11.8 centimeters from the tip for the balance point. Blade thickness here. It's 4.7 millimeters. I believe we have a flat grind, so just use a straight edge. Okay, it was not what I was expecting. It looks like we have a convex down this. Okay, so it's more or less flat here. Okay, no, I don't know what was going on there, because it is looking, no, so it's a flat grind. Although I think there is a hint of convex in there. Just a little, but I'll call it flat. And we'll do guide length at this position. So 17 millimeters at the point where the blade is 27.7 millimeters. So the primary bevel angle is one of the easier ones to settle in on, and that is 15 degrees. And 30 minutes, so 15 degrees 30 minutes for the primary bevel angle. Now the factory edge bevels, which won't be visible to you, but what we have is the right hand at 28 degrees and the left hand at 30 degrees. So it's a very narrow edge bevel, but not quite as fine as I thought it might be. Just check again. So yeah, 20. That could be 29 on both sides. Let's call it that. 29 degrees per side. Point angle, and with it being a tanto, we'll also have a secondary point angle. But the main tip of the knife which is a nice fine 42 degrees, and for the secondary point that's coming in at 159 degrees. Thickness behind the edge. So we've got a very fine edge bevel, though the angle is a little bit steeper than I thought it might be. We have 0.46 millimeters thickness behind that thin edge bevel. Okay, there is a small rake. So the rake is approximately 6 degrees. Just to show you, if I lay that ruler up the handle, you can see the knife blade is down slightly. That's the rake. And now let's see how sharp this factory edge bevel is. So center sharpness for the factory edge on the MICROTECH SOCOM Elite, 275 grams. Heel sharpness, 282 grams. And a tip, 269 grams. Well, thank you for joining me for this detailed look at the MICROTECH SOCOM Elite in 2025. And remember, get informed, be prepared, stay sharp.